I'm Patty with StudioR12 Stencils, and today I'm going to show you how to do this really cool vintage background effect. You can use it for a ton of different signs, so stay tuned, it's going to be cool. To get started with our rust technique, the very first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our water-based stain. This is Minwax water-based stain. It's amazing, it's super pure pigment, and I love it. So I did a little test run. So I'm going to get a little bit bigger pile. So I'm going to do maybe the $50 size, if anybody knows what one of those look like. And I'm going to get out the Crimson 1147 and then the Lemon 1007. And I'll put out about equal amounts of each. And it's not super watery, but it's super good staining. And this one just needs, the Legacy Brown is number 1056, and it is, we just need maybe a nickel size of that. It's just gonna tone down our colors just a little bit. So then I'm going to mix these colors, so I didn't have to buy like rust and crimson and lemon. I'm gonna make my own. So I always like to do a little patch to see where I get, and then increase. So I'm going to get a nice rusty color, but I need it to be an old rusty color, like a patinaed rusty colored. So then I'm going to slide in half of my brown, and that's the Legacy Brown, and see where we are. And I think like this is probably a little bit too dark, so I think this is going to be the right color. I used a little bit more of the brown on my other. I'm going to use a full top bag as a glove and a sponge. And so my goal is to get this whole board just rust colored. And I'm not going to use water in this case, and maybe just a touch. I feel like I vacillate between yes water, no water. I just want a little bit of smoothness to be happening. Okay, so then we're going to go on here with our rust color and just pick up rust. Some can be dark, some can be light. None of this is going to show all together, so it's fine to have it be irregular. My lines don't need to be straight. I was talking in another video recently about making sure you kept everything straight. In this case, this does not need to be that way because this is not going to show until I scrape it away. I've got a really cool technique I'm going to show you. Okay, we got our board dried. Now this is going to be the rust that I'm going to put white paint over the top of it, and then I'm going to scrape and chip and do some funny things, and that is going to be my rust background underneath color. So first we're going to go ahead and I think I might pull out a little bit of wax. I think I want a little bit more of this on the bottom, so I'm going to just take my Clapham's beeswax and just here and there make it heavier at the base of my project so that things chip off intentionally. I'm going to do some scraping and scratching and some things like that, so it's going to be a very active project. You're going to love it. And so then we can put some smears through so we get like surprise chunks. That's through the cow probably. I got my stencil over here. Everywhere where there's wax, there will be heavier lifting. Everywhere where I scrape will be skinnier lifting. So that's kind of what I'm doing right now, is just deciding if I want big lift in this area. And I'm also going to do some sponging. There's a whole bunch of things that are going to be happening here, so you will have fun. I love backgrounds. It's all subjective. If you get onto Pinterest and look up vintage rust backgrounds, that's going to be a really great way for you to go look at something and be inspired by it besides this video. So this video will help you a lot too, because I'll just walk you through the steps. Okay, so now we're going to go with our dry foam brush and our white paint. And I keep thinking it's going to just be white, but I think that white is so white. I want just a little touch of number 22. So 22, 27, just a little tone. If it's old, it's not going to be crisp white. So I want it to be just a little bit dated looking. Now it matters how we put on our paint. Now we're going to keep our lines straight. We're going to not worry about working into the wax. We're just going to go right over the top. We will more than likely do 2 coats of this white because it won't cover over completely. All right, so I'm looking for the best scraping device, and I don't know what it's going to be. My paint is wet. I did 3 coats on top of my rust-colored stain, and I have my wax on here. And now I want to just kind of carve into this and see what kind of look I'm going to get. So I'm not getting a very rusty look right now. So maybe we choose a brighter color. So I'm just trying to get, like, I'm old. I'm not a new thing. Oh, hi. You're already kind of cured right there. I don't want to, like, sign my name. We're going to do sanding as well, so I'm just trying to get some carvy carve going in here. Like rubbing. And that one's, like, definitely do this when your paint is fresh. And then you can do some up and downs as well. I'm going to sand that. I don't like how that looks. If I was doing up and downs, I would do them in straight lines, not in this squiggly. So I'll sand over that guy right there. Wipe off my scraper. And then you can do some serious scrapage, like this kind of thing. Yeah, that makes me a little bit happy. Oh, that's getting my wax gone. Ooh, and then that's even fun too. Ah, there goes my wax. You know, I wonder, like, I've always just sanded my wax, but I wonder if I just go ahead and do some scrapage. And if you get too much of this scraping off and you don't like what you've got going on, you can always go through, sand it, and then put a little bit of white distressing over the top of it, so you don't have to worry about being dedicated. So see how these scrapes are going to come through my sanding areas. Try to keep your lines going straight though. This might be a really great project for out in your garage. That was fun. Okay, we'll brush this off. And I have done a project where I had some green in my palette, and I'm gonna be dangerous, and I did some wet sanding. I'm gonna use this piece of sandpaper and see what it does. I'm just gonna experiment. So we're still a little bit wet. If I'm doing it right, we should get a little bit of green off onto this piece. I love the irregularness of taking a little bit more aggressive sandings. Let me see if I can wake this one up a little bit. Yeah, see what that did? It just kind of spread it out just a little bit. Yeah. Turn it over so I get a different pressure point. This is looking kind of cool, guys. It's grayer than I wanted. I wanted it more rust colored, but I'm not mad about it. So here's our bottom part. I don't know that I like the intensity of that sideways streak, so I'm gonna feather that out. And then, but I do like some of it, so I'm not gonna do it all. This one is a little bit lonely right here. Just gives it a little bit more sideways grunge. Phew. Sanding is my cardio. That is one of our sayings on our cups. All right, so we've got it all sanded now. What should happen right now is we should go ahead and let this dry and do some things, but I wanna do some top coats. We're gonna break this into a two-part lesson because for my top stenciling, I have a really cool new technique that you're gonna wanna catch. So make sure you like, subscribe, ring the bell, and do all that stuff on YouTube so that you can see what we're up to, because that is all the crazy things. So we are going to mix a little bit more of our color. You could do this with regular paint, but I'll tell you, the lack of fillers in these colors for the Minwax water-based stain, the lack of fillers make the colors really pure, and that makes me super duper happy. It is really pretty. A lot of other paint lines have a lot of filler in them, and that makes it muddy and not so clean. These are just really clean colors. I've got a little corner of a sea sponge. We have these on our website at StudioR12.com, and you can find a set. I think they come in a set. I'm not quite certain. Now we're gonna go in and we're gonna add just a little bit more rust color. So I'm gonna pick up some of this rust, and then I'm gonna pounce it here and there through the colors that I've smeared on here. I'll wipe it back where it's too white and not have it, I don't want it to be like an orange board. I just want a little bit more orange through my rusty areas. Don't like that one. So you can go back, and then I could also smear some white back over the top of things. So I'm using the back of my sponge to clean up those areas. I might go with white on there. So my sponge will go in the water, and then we will go with a foam brush. And I've got plain white, and I know I'm doing plain white. I'm just gonna go and feather over a couple of these areas. Just kind of feather it down just a little bit. And just doing the plain white will also give me another nuance of color. I like to squint, I like to back up and squint at my board and see if anything is like leaping out at me. This little guy is a little bit lonely. This guy is a little lonely. Sometimes my edges need to be toned down just a little bit. Okay. How fun is this technique? So now we can go on to our stencil, and we can see where everything is going to land. And so we can see if it flows pretty well, and I think that it does. So this is the beginning, and I hope that you love this lesson. Make sure that you like, subscribe, ring the bell, and we'll see you in the finishing part. And don't forget, I'm going to show you a really cool brand new technique.